The galaxy had many stories. Some were true, some were false. But the strangest story of all was about a small blue planet called Earth. The older races spoke of it in whispers. They said it was a world of warriors, a world of survivors, a world where the creatures never stopped fighting, not even against themselves. But nobody believed those stories anymore. Ambassador Axe stood in the great council chamber of the Galactic Union. His 4 eyes scanned the massive room. Representatives from 47 known species sat in their designated seats. The chamber was carved from the heart of a dead moon. It had stood for 12,000 years. In all that time, no species had ever challenged the Union's power. Axe belonged to the race. They were tall, thin creatures with pale blue skin. They had ruled the council for 3,000 years. They believed themselves to be the most intelligent beings in existence. They had conquered dozens of worlds. They had brought peace through strength. And they had never once encountered anything they could not defeat. Today was supposed to be a simple day. The council was voting on the fate of a small mining colony in the Outer Rim. The Empire wanted to claim it. The Union was going to let them. It was politics, nothing more. But then the doors of the chamber burst open. A young soldier ran inside. His breathing was heavy. His eyes were wide with something Axe had never seen before in one of his kind. It was fear, pure and complete fear. "Ambassador," the soldier gasped. "There are ships, thousands of ships. They just appeared at the edge of the neutral zone." Axe frowned. "Which empire do they belong to?" The soldier shook his head. "None that we recognize, but their energy signatures. They match the old records, the very old records." The chamber fell silent. Every representative stopped talking. Every eye turned toward the soldier. "What old records?" Axe demanded. The soldier swallowed hard. "The records from the archive of forgotten worlds, the ships. They carry the markings of Earth." Laughter erupted from several sections of the chamber. The representative, a massive creature covered in black scales, slammed his fist on his desk. "Earth is a myth, a bedtime story for younglings. There is no such place." But Axe did not laugh. He remembered the old texts. He remembered the warnings that previous generations had left behind. He remembered the reason why they had stopped exploring the far reaches of the galaxy 3,000 years ago. They had found something out there, something that frightened them so much that they erased all records of it. They called it the Dead Zone. No ship that entered the Dead Zone ever returned. And at the heart of the Dead Zone was a system with a small yellow star and a blue planet third from that star. Axe activated the viewing screen. The image that appeared made his blood turn cold. Ships filled the screen. Not hundreds, not thousands, millions of ships. They stretched across space like a metal ocean. Each ship was different from the next. Some were sleek and fast. Some were massive and heavy. Some bristled with weapons. Others carried shields that glowed with unknown energy. And at the front of this impossible armada was a single ship larger than any station the Union had ever built. It was painted black with blue lines running across its hull. On its side was a symbol that Axe had only seen in ancient texts. A blue circle with green and brown patches. A planet, their planet, Earth. A transmission cut through all channels. Every screen in the council chamber displayed the same image. A creature appeared. It stood on 2 legs. It had 2 arms, 2 eyes, and skin that ranged from light to dark. It wore a uniform of black and gold, and it smiled. "Greetings, Galactic Union," the creature said. Its voice was calm, almost friendly. "My name is Admiral Sarah of the United Earth Fleet. We have been watching you for a very long time. We know about your wars. We know about your conquests. We know about the species you have destroyed and the worlds you have burned." The creature's smile faded. Its eyes grew hard. 3,000 years ago, your ancestors found our system. They sent a scouting fleet to study us. They saw that we were divided. They saw that we fought among ourselves. They decided that we were primitive, Weak. They planned to conquer us and use us as slaves. Admiral leaned forward. Those ships never returned home, we made sure of that. And then we did something that your kind could never understand. We stopped fighting each other. We united. Every nation, every people, every human on Earth joined together for one purpose. We built ships. We developed technology. We trained soldiers. And we waited. The image shifted to show the Armada again. The camera moved through the fleet, revealing ship after ship after ship. For 3,000 years, we prepared. We studied your technology from the ships we captured. We improved it. We made it better. We watched your union grow and spread across the galaxy. We watched you enslave the weak and destroy the different. We watched you become exactly what we feared you would become. The camera returned to Admiral. Behind her, Axe could see dozens of other humans. They stood in perfect formation. Their faces showed no fear, only determination. Today, the waiting ends. We are not here to negotiate. We are not here to join your union. We are here to give you a choice. Free every enslaved species. Return every conquered world. Dissolve your military forces. Do this within one standard galactic year and we will leave you in peace. Admiral's eyes seemed to look directly at Axe. Refuse, and we will do it ourselves. But we will not be gentle. We will not show mercy. You taught us 3,000 years ago that the galaxy is cruel to the weak, so we made sure we would never be weak again. The transmission ended. The council chamber erupted into chaos. The representative was screaming for war. Other species were demanding immediate surrender. Some were trying to flee the chamber entirely. But Axe stood frozen. He understood now. He understood why the Ancient had been so afraid. He understood why they had created the dead zone and forbidden anyone from entering it. They had poked a sleeping predator, and now that predator had awakened. Over the next several hours, the Union's military commanders gathered information about the human fleet. What they learned made the situation even worse. The human ships were not just numerous. They were advanced. Their weapons used technologies that Union scientists could not even identify. Their shields absorbed energy attacks and converted them into additional power. Their engines allowed them to move faster than anything the Union possessed. But the most terrifying discovery was about the humans themselves. Unlike most species, humans did not die easily. They could survive injuries that would kill instantly. They could function without sleep for days. They could adapt to almost any environment. And their minds were capable of something the Union had never encountered before. Humans could feel fear and ignore it. They could face certain death and still fight. They could lose everything and keep going. They called it courage. The Union had no word for such a concept. The military commanders presented their findings to the council. Their conclusion was simple. The Union could not win this war. Even if they gathered every ship from every member species, they would be outnumbered 10-1. Even if they somehow matched the human numbers, their technology was inferior. Even if they somehow matched the human technology, their soldiers would break before the humans did. The representative refused to accept this. He declared that his empire would fight alone if necessary. He promised to destroy the human and scatter their fleet across the void. 3 days later, the fleet engaged the humans at the edge of the neutral zone. 2,000 warships faced a small human force of only 500 vessels. The battle lasted 6 minutes. When it ended, every ship was destroyed. The humans had lost 7 ships. 7 ships out of 500 against 2,000 of the most powerful warships they had ever built. The Empire surrendered the next morning. After that, the other species began to talk. They began to discuss the old stories. They began to remember things that their ancestors had tried to make them forget. They remembered that humans had once visited their world in the early days of space travel. The humans had been peaceful then. They had offered friendship and trade. They had attacked them instead, seeing them as easy prey. The humans had fled, but they had promised to return one day. They remembered that their species had once captured a human exploration vessel. They had experimented on the crew, trying to understand human biology. The experiments had been cruel. The humans had died screaming. But before the last one died, she had looked at her captors and said words that they had never forgotten. More will come. Story after story emerged. Every species that had survived long enough had some encounter with humans in their history. And in every story, the humans had been wronged. In every story, the humans had promised to return. Now they had. Ambassador Axe requested a private meeting with Admiral. To his surprise, she agreed. They met on a small station in neutral space. Axe brought no guards. Admiral brought no weapons. They sat across from each other at a simple table. Axe studied the human carefully. She was smaller than him, physically weaker. She had no claws, no armor, no natural defenses. And yet, sitting across from her, Axe felt like prey facing a predator. "Why did you wait so long?" Axe asked. "You could have attacked centuries ago. You could have destroyed us before we became strong." Admiral considered the question. "Because we are not like you. We do not enjoy conquest. We do not seek power for its own sake. We wanted to live in peace. We hoped that you would change, that you would grow beyond your violent nature." She paused. "We were wrong. And now? Now we will do what must be done. The enslaved will be freed. The conquered will be returned to their homes. The Union will be reformed or it will be destroyed." Admiral looked at Axe with something that might have been sadness. "We did not want this, but you gave us no choice." Axe nodded slowly. He understood. He finally understood why the ancients had been so afraid. It was not the human ships or their weapons or their technology. It was something else entirely. It was something that they had lost long ago, if they ever had it at all. The humans fought not for glory or conquest. They fought for justice. They fought because they believed it was right. And beings who fought for belief were far more dangerous than beings who fought for power. Because beings who fought for power would eventually be satisfied. Beings who fought for belief would never stop until their cause was won. The next day, Ambassador Axe addressed the council. He recommended unconditional surrender. He recommended accepting all human demands. He recommended that the Union begin the process of freeing every enslaved species and returning every conquered world. Many opposed him. Many called him a coward. Many demanded that he be removed from his position. But in the end, they did as he suggested, because they had no other choice. The humans had returned, and the galaxy would never be the same. In the years that followed, the Union transformed. It became what it should have always been, a partnership of equals, a gathering of free peoples, a force for peace rather than conquest. And at the heart of this new union was a small blue planet that everyone had once believed was just a myth. Earth. The world of warriors who chose peace. The world of survivors who offered hope. The world that waited 3,000 years to give the galaxy a second chance. And this time, the galaxy did not waste it.